I'm out in the yard right now getting some leaves raked up. I got a bunch of leaves dumped in my yard, getting ready for winter. And like I'm sure a lot of you guys, I'm also getting ready for some winter backpacking. Today we're going to talk about some cheap winter camping tips, just some really inexpensive things to help you guys get through your next winter camping trip. And we're going to start off with what I think is one of the most essential things when it comes to winter camping and just having a successful trip out in the winter time, and that is having a fire. It can be a really, really miserable time if you're not able to get a fire going in the winter. So having a very, very easy, effective way of starting a fire is key. I use these zip cubes. They're just like a barbecue starter. You can buy them in like a big sheet, or they come individually packaged. I usually buy the big sheet of them, and then I break them off into little pieces like this. I know that with these zip cubes, I can dunk them in water and let them soak for like a week, take them out, and they're still going to ignite. They're still going to catch a spark. And on top of having an effective fire starter, carrying a lighter with you, to me, I just think a lighter is the most simple, effective way of starting a fire. I know some people out there are going to say that you should be carrying a ferro rod and, a sparker and that kind of thing. And yeah, those can be great and those can be effective, but it takes a lot of practice to get very proficient with those, whereas a lighter, I'm pretty sure all of us can operate a lighter. And when it comes to carrying a lighter, keeping that lighter inside your pocket close to your body is going to keep the lighter fluid from freezing up, and is going to make it so when you pull out that lighter and you want to use it, it's going to work. Another way that you can really, really help improve your comfort, give yourself that morale boost at camp, is making sure you have warm feet. A lot of YouTubers out there are rocking the down booties. They preach, putting on these, little ultralight down booties for keeping your feet warm. And while those can be great for keeping your feet warm when you're crawled into bed and, you're sleeping at night, they're not really effective when you're walking around camp. Now, my solution to this, and this is what I've kind of always done, and I will probably always continue to do when it comes to winter camping, is I just carry my winter boots with me. They've got the removable liner inside, and that is key as well, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But the big reason I like carrying my winter boots over carrying a pair of down booties is, these have a nice sole on them. I can put these on when I get to camp, and I can walk around. I don't really have to worry about, breaking through snow, and don't really have to worry about my feet getting wet in these. And like I said, having the removable liners in these, when it comes to bedtime, I like pulling the removable liners out and putting them on my feet, and I will wear these inside my sleep system when I'm curled up at night to give my feet a little bit of extra boost. Now, when it comes to winter camping, keeping yourself warm at night inside your tent does not always require going out and dropping hundreds of dollars on really expensive winter rated sleeping pads or winter rated sleeping bags or top quilts, if that's what you want to go with. I personally don't even own a winter rated sleeping pad, and I regularly camp down into like -20 and -30. I've got lots of videos of myself out camping in extreme cold temperatures, and on all those trips, I have never once brought out a winter rated sleeping pad. I have a Nemo Tensor. This is a pretty good shoulder season pad. It's got an R value of 4.2, and previously to that, I was using a sleeping pad that had an R value below 3. Now, the way that I've got through some extreme cold winter camping conditions with just using a summer rated sleeping pad, a really, really cheap option, and I just picked myself up one of these blue closed cell foam pads. This one is about 1/2 inch thick. They do make them a little bit thicker if you want something a little bit thicker. This not only adds insulation to your sleep system, like I said, I've gotten down with, just adding one of these blue closed cell foam pads underneath my summer sleeping pad. I've gotten down to -30 and had no issues at all with being cold. This actually adds a little bit of more comfort. It adds like that little bit extra cushioning, makes your sleeping pad that much more comfortable. Extremely effective, extremely cheap way of keeping yourself warm at night. So I've got a 20 Fahrenheit or -7 Celsius top quilt here, and a 30 Fahrenheit or 0 Celsius top quilt here, and I literally will just slide them inside of each other and just use them combined. Stacking quilts or stacking sleeping bags is a great way at pushing your summer gear into the winter months, and it's going to help you from spending those hundreds of dollars on those really, really expensive winter rated top quilts or winter rated sleeping bags. If you've got two 20 Fahrenheit rated items, like say two 20 Fahrenheit rated top quilts, or a 20 quilt and a 20 sleeping bag, or two 20 rated sleeping bags, that should be able to push you down to -30. If you've got a 20 and a 30, that should get you down to about -20. And if you've got two 30 rated sleeping bags or two 30 rated quilts, that should get you down to about -10 Fahrenheit. Now, these numbers are pretty subjective. This is just kind of basing off of the amount of loft that a 20 Fahrenheit quilt or a 30 Fahrenheit quilt will get you, and combine those two together, and that's sort of what it stacks up to next to, an actual -30 rated sleeping bag or a -20 rated bag. Like I said, this is kind of one of those things that's very subjective. Test this out at home before going on in those conditions, but this is the system that I use. It's very, very effective. It saves me from spending hundreds of dollars on winter-rated quilts and winter-rated sleeping bags, and it gets me through those extremely cold Canadian Rockies nights. Even carrying 2 top quilts with me, I almost always carry one of these Costco throw blankets with me on every winter backpacking trip. You just never know when you're going to need that little bit of extra boost. Like I said, they're 20 bucks. They're a no-brainer. A very, very easy one is just eating right before you go to bed. I find for myself, eating something that's high in protein is just going to digest a little bit longer, and the digestion process inside your guts is going to help your body produce more body heat. I like, crushing a little bit of beef jerky or a sausage or some salami. Like I said, something that's high in protein is going to digest a little bit longer. When it comes to winter time, these stay on the shelf, and for me, it's Nalgene or bust. Big benefit to having Nalgene bottles when it comes to winter camping is the ability to take hot water, pour it inside the Nalgene, seal it up. You can go that extra step and even put that in a large Ziploc freezer bag, and then take an extra pair of socks, if you've got an extra pair of wool socks, and slide that over top. It kind of makes like a little insulative koozie, and then throw that in the foot box of your sleeping bag or your quilt, or tuck it into the back of your knees. Just if you feel any cold spots, or even just snuggle it up into your chest. It's a great way to add a little bit more heat and a little bit more comfort out on your winter trips. Last tip I have for you guys has to do with stoves. Now, you don't need to go rushing out and buying yourself one of those really expensive, pump stoves. You can still use typical summer stoves, like, an MSR micro rocket here. I know a lot of people say that, you get these canisters in too cold a weather and they just don't work. And that can really be true, but there are things that you can do to keep the canister itself from freezing up and make them still effective out in cold weather. Just as simple as, when you're hiking around, keep it inside your pocket. Just your body temperature is going to keep that canister warm, and it's going to keep the fuel inside from freezing up, and it's going to be effective. And you're going to be able to use your summer-rated stoves and melt snow or boil water when you're out there in the backcountry. Now, hopefully these tips have helped you guys out and kind of given you guys some ideas on ways you can save some money when it comes to winter camping, and some of your comforts on winter backpacking trips, and maybe helps ease some of your guys' fears. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section down below. I love helping you guys out, and they always give ideas for future videos. Now, if you guys are looking for more videos to watch, I've got an entire playlist on winter camping trips that I've done. Some pretty epic scenery up here in the Rockies. Check those out. I'm sure you guys will enjoy. And as always, I'm Matty. Thank you guys so dang much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.